Hello, this is Dave Hurwitz, Executive Editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a review of a new recording of the major orchestral works, really all on a disc, of Rimsky-Korsakov. And here it is. As you can see, you get Vasily Petrenko with the Oslo Philharmonic doing Rimsky's three late orchestral masterpieces all together on a disc: the Capriccio Espagnol, the Russian Easter Overture, or the Russian Easter Festival Overture, or the Grand Pack Russe, or whatever you want to call it, and then, of course, Scheherazade. Now, that's an enticing package because it's a very, very full disc. It's a good, almost 80 minutes or so. And these are his three late great masterpieces. However, we've just done videos on Scheherazade. We've done the Russian Easter Overture. Haven't done the Capriccio Espagnol yet, but we very well could. We all know these works very well. I know them very well. I've played them all. It seems to me today that conductors are just not quite attuned to the romantic aesthetic, shall we say. I mean, this is picture postcard music. It cries out to have something done to it, something to juice it up. For all of the extraordinary orchestration and color and rhythm and vibrancy that's just built into it, these pieces don't play themselves. And this is a disc that sort of shows that rather graphically. The best performance on it is the Capriccio Espagnol, by far. It's the most concerto for orchestra-like of the three works. It gives all of the first desk players something wonderful to do. The Oslo players play it very well, but more importantly, Petrenko seems to dig into the music and really sort of whip it up, especially at the end, where Rimsky is inviting you to give the music an extra burst of energy and make a sort of a cello-rondo towards the final pages. And Petrenko does all that. It's a very well played, very exciting performance, and moreover, it has a great deal of clarity, of texture, which really helps because there's a lot going on in it, and it's wonderful to hear all of the different parts sort of coming together. It's quite wonderful. On the other hand, the Russian Easter Overture, which I adore, not least because it has this lovely tam-tam part at the end, which you never hear, and you don't really hear it here either, because it's only marked mezzo forte, quasi campana, like a bell, which a tam-tam isn't. Composers keep doing that. I don't quite get it, but never mind. Be that as it may. What you want to hear, and I'm the last person to lecture Petrenko on what constitutes Russianness. I mean, let's face it, but this doesn't sound Russian at all. I mean, I'm talking about, you have these chant melodies that are proclaimed by the various winds and particularly by the trombones. And a lot of that heavy, heavy brass writing. And you want it to sound raw and brazen and vocal. You want to sound like, the chanting of those fabulous Russian choirs with the magnificent bass voices, that really, really rumble the floor. You don't hear that here. You just don't. It's a light, well-played, kind of impersonal performance. I mean, at the very, very end, when the chant comes in, at the very end, when Markevich pauses, Markevich does a complete halt and then changes the tempo. It's bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum ba da 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 dum. Bwam, 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 dun, 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 and he lets the tam-tam go crazy, and the glockenspiel's clanging, and the bells are going. You don't have to be that exaggerated. I mean, you really don't. But you got to do something. You have to try and capture the monumentality, the primal character of the music. And this performance, it just goes flitting along as if nothing's happening. And that's really kind of annoying, even though he actually plays the ending the way Rimsky-Korsakov wrote it. I mean, everyone futzes around with it. You can do all of those things, but there's got to be just more personality. More personality in the playing, more personality in the conducting. Maybe he doesn't like the piece particularly well. I don't know. It just sounds like a solid professional effort with very little character at all. And the same, unfortunately, is rather true of Scheherazade. Now, of course, Scheherazade is a blank canvas. You could do all kinds of things with Scheherazade. First of all, we have the concert master here, or concert mistress, Elise. Her name is Elise, Botnis. Is that the name here? I can't pronounce it, and I'm not going to try. The concert mistress of the Oslo Philharmonic. Boy, is she a faceless Scheherazade. Goodness gracious. Once again, playing is pretty. It's technically refined. Nothing to complain about, but totally devoid of personality. And this performance has wonderful moments of actual playing. The woodwind solos in the second movement are very nicely done. Petrenko keeps the third movement, the young prince and the young princess, he keeps it moving, which is really, really important. It's very beautiful. I really enjoyed that third movement because it can really bog down and get kind of sticky. And here's a case where a sort of, holding back a little on the gushing and romantic excess actually pays dividends. It really does, because the music doesn't become static. But in the finale there is, Petrenko takes it at a very good clip. It's exciting, and there's some amazing triple tonguing by the trumpets. I mean, my goodness, they play well and together, and they're light and on their toes and rhythmic. It's just one of the high points of the performance. But then you get to the final storm. It's a storm, and it's a shipwreck, and nothing's happening. I mean, it's just dull. It doesn't have any pizzazz. The bass drum should thunder, the trombones should be cutting through the texture, the harps are going splashing, and the waves are crashing, and then the ship's gonna crash on a rock surmounted by a bronze warrior. The gong is gonna go, and it just doesn't. Again, he never lets go. He never lets the orchestra just play out and do its thing. He doesn't do anything to realize that picture postcard, larger than life energy that the music has to have. I don't understand what it is about today's conductors. I have to tell you that makes them so cool when it comes to this romantic music. I mean, everyone still theoretically loves it. That's why we're recording it. But we're not recording it as often as we used to. Recordings of Scheherazade used to be a dime a dozen because everyone knew how to do it, basically, right? I mean, all the good ones were made in the 60s, the late 50s, the 60s. That was like Scheherazade time. And up until the 70s, you get like Kondratyins with the Concertgebouw. We know what the great Scheherazades are. And Petrenko should know what the great Scheherazades are too. He should know, because they're out there. They're out there. You got to listen to them, and you got to say, okay, we're going to do this. And if we're going to do this, we have to do one that's as good or better, than so-and-so's, because so-and-so's is still available, right? People like me are making videos about all of those Scheherazades that have been sitting out there and accumulating over the decades. So if you're going to do a new one, the competition is very, very fierce, and you have to meet it, or else there's no point in trying. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad recording. It's not. It's a very well played, beautifully recorded. I mean, everything about it. The LAWO label, which did this production, has excellent engineering and nice packaging and presentation. I mean, isn't that pretty? It's good value for the money. It should have everything going for it, and it does have everything going for it, except fabulous performances of everything except the Capriccio Espagnol. It's that simple. I wish I loved it more, because like I said, these performances, these pieces are not done as frequently as they used to be. And you want to be able to welcome a new one with open arms and say, oh, yes, at last, another great one. Yay, Well, unfortunately, I can't say that. It will not disappoint anyone, I think, who buys it. It's not, like I said, a bad performance, but oh my. I mean, then I just want to close by echoing one thought. Why is it that Russian conductors are supposed to do Russian music, French conductors do French music, English conductors do English music? That makes me crazy. I mean, I guess as a marketing thing with recordings, they have to. But do they like it? Do they really like it? Is that the music they really feel that they really want to do? I wonder. I really wonder. I wonder what would happen if, in a perfect world, every artist just had the opportunity to do the music that represented them best, that they love the best, that they could do their best work in. What would happen? What would really happen? I mean, I think I've told this story before. When Vladimir Feltzman came to the U.S. and he had to do the Tchaikovsky Concerto and he had to do all this Russian stuff, it wasn't very good, frankly. Then he did Bach. Aha! He was a terrific Bach pianist. That was what he wanted to do, And I think, when you achieve a certain level of fame, you earn the right to do whatever you want. You can't so much be pigeonholed by your handlers, by the people who ensure that you have a career. Petrenko probably has to run around spending his life playing Russian music because he's Russian. And some of it he does very well, as you know. But I can't help but feel that we're not hearing these very, very talented people. We're not hearing the best of which they're capable because they aren't allowed to do it, especially today, where there's so much of everything that if you risk, if Petrenko decided that, his favorite composer was, Mendelssohn, what would happen? Who would pay any attention, right? I just think it's a shame. I just want to hear great music making. I don't care who's doing it. I don't care where they're from. I don't care anything. I just want to hear great music making. This is good music making. It's good. But oh my heavens, there should be better. It should be better, and there could be better. So that is my feeling about this. You are not going to replace your favorite Scheherazade with this guy. And I wish it were not so. I wish it were better. I know they can do it, but they don't. They don't. And that's the way it goes. And so in order to hear the great ones, we're just going to have to keep on listening, folks, aren't we? Thank you, and take care.